Alright guys, welcome. This is going to be the first video of 3 for geometry. I'm going to do something a little bit different that I did for the other videos, which is I'm going to shoot them back to back to back. I usually don't do that with the other ones, but for you guys, you know you guys are special. That's why I do it. And so today we're going to do lesson 100, which is going to be transformation matrices. Matrices is a new way of doing math. It's not going to be super complicated, promise you. It's actually pretty easy, and it's not like super important, but it's something that you must learn for first quarter of Algebra 2. It's not going to be super important throughout Algebra 2. It's just mostly first, maybe a little bit of second, second quarter. Algebra 2, but that's it. So obviously this is why you need to know it, so that you do well in it. And so let's just get into it. So let's get into it. A matrix, okay, so matrices is plural. The singular form is going to be matrix. And so this is a matrix, okay? So it's a way to arrange numbers in kind of like a box. That's what it is. And so we're called this a 3x4 matrix. Why is it a 3x4? Because it has 3 rows and 4 columns. So columns are going to be up and down, and rows are going to be left to right. So it has 3 rows, 1, 2, 3. It has 4 columns, and then each one of these little numbers, it's called an element. And so that's what a matrix is just an arrangement of how to put numbers in a little box, and you always are going to say rows by columns. So this is a 3x4 matrix, and these are my elements in the matrix. I mean, it's pretty easy. That's pretty much all you have to know about matrices before we get into example 1, which is going to be adding. All right, so we're going to add this 2x2 matrix and this 2x2 matrix. So it's really important. It's just kind of like fractions. When you're going to add matrices, you have to have the same dimensions, meaning 2 rows by 2 rows by 2 columns and 2 rows by 2 columns. It's really important because this element has to be added to this element, and this element is going to be added to this element, and this element is going to be added to this element, and this element is going to be added to this element. So it's pretty easy adding. It's not going to be like elementary adding because we have negative numbers, but it's middle school adding. So 2 plus negative 1. Wow, that's really hard. And so that's what it is about. So let me check that I haven't just been talking to the air or, you know, the chairs in my basement, because I don't know if it's recording. So let me check. Yes, it is recording. Good. So what we have to do then is going to add. And so the answer to this problem is again going to be a 2 row by 2 column matrix. So we're going to add 2 plus minus 1. So over here I'm going to write what the process is, but over here I'm going to write the answer. So over here it's going to be 2 plus negative 1. 2 plus negative 1 is going to be 1, because 2 minus 1 is 1. And then we're going to add 3 plus 4. Whoa, 3 plus 4, crazy. So it's going to be 7. Yep, that's right. That's how hard it is. Then we're going to add 0 plus 3. And then we're going to add negative 1 plus 0. Whoa, crazy. So 0 plus 3 is going to be 3. And negative 1 plus 0 is going to be negative 1. This is my resultant matrix. This is my answer, 1, 7, 3, negative 1. And that's how you add matrices. So we have, in between the examples, there is this shape that is graphed, and it's RSTU. And so what happens is that R is, it's a point, obviously. It's a quadrilateral drawn in a coordinate plane. I'm not going to draw it because I don't have a lot of space. As you can see, my board is not very big. And I know it might look bigger in the video, but it's because I have zoomed in a little bit. So we have, and by the way, I mean, you can tell that it's not that big because, look, I'm not all that tall, and my wingspan is not all that big, you know, but I'm not like Prometheus, who says that she's like 7'5" or something like that, you know, super giant. And that's why she calls me short. But, you know, I'm not Yagua either, you know. Yagua, the little man who thinks he can be bigger by just insulting people. And so one of the things that happens is that we are going to have 2 minus 1 and 5 minus 2 and 3 minus 5 and -1, -3. So this is going to be a shape that I'm going to arrange into a point matrix, right? So a point matrix is only going to have 2 rows. It has to have only 2 rows because one is going to be for X and then the other one's going to be for Y. And so it's going to be a 2 row by 4 column. All right. So this is going to be a 2 by 4 matrix, and it's going to be 2, -1. So X is going to be all the way into, like the X values are going to be on top, and the corresponding Y value is going to be in the bottom. So 2, -1. Then we have 5, -2, sorry. And then we have 3, -5. 3, -5. And then we have -1, -3. -1, -3. And so that's how you do the point matrix. So you have to know this is one point, this is another point, this is another point, and that's another point. So it's important for you to know this because we're going to sometimes refer to point matrices and you already need to know what they are. But again, it's not very hard. So because it has 4 columns, we know, oh, okay, we're talking about a quadrilateral. If it had 3 columns, it would be a triangle. If it had 5 columns, it would be a pentagon. It cannot have 2, well, it could have 2 columns, but that would not be polygon. It would actually be a line. And that's how you do the point matrix. Okay, so we have a line AB that is drawn in your book, that it has a little coordinate plane, and it's drawn here. So I just took the points only, and they said, okay, so what you have to do is add this matrix, which is very simple because it's 1, 1, 1, 1. Wow, what a hard matrix. I don't know, that looks like a drawing, but I can't think of it. If you think it looks like something, you know, comment below. You know, that would bring the views, and then I could probably, you know, become a famous YouTuber. Maybe, you know, I would get a new job finally. You know, Prometheus would finally be rid of me, and she would be super happy. And I could probably move on and have a great math YouTube career. Yeah, right. So I don't know what it looks like, but it's 1, 1, 1, 1, right? And so now that we have this one, what we have to do is obviously do a point matrix for this one. And it's pretty easy because my point matrix is going to be 1, 4, and 5, 2. Okay, those are going to be the points I got. Let me just check that I'm right. Oh, what'd you know? I'm right. So in your example, in your book, they have this matrix first, and then they have this one. Well, because we're adding something that is both positive and positive, it's not going to make a difference. Even if we added the other way around, it would still be the same. So 1 plus 1, and I'm not going to write it down again because I already did it for the first example, and I think it's pretty easy, right? So 1 plus 1 is going to be 2. And then 1 plus 5 is going to be 6. And then 1 plus 4 is going to be 5. And then 1 plus 2 is going to be 3. And boom, I transformed my line with the transformation matrix of 1, 1, 1, 1. And so basically I moved everything up 1 point. So 1 in Y and then to the right in X. That's what this means. I moved both points both up and to the right by 1 unit. And that is the end of example 2. All right, example 3, last example of this lesson. I know we're super excited, everyone is. All right, so, but contain your excitement, please, okay? Especially Lydia, she can be very loud. And I hope that Finiti and Isabella are not talking, if they're even watching this, because I have not seen any activity from them in the classrooms. Isabella forgot or something like that. She wasn't receiving messages or whatever she said. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh my goodness, I can't believe we're doing all that. Yeah. And I know it's pretty obvious who's actually active in the classroom and who's not. And this is really important because if it keeps like this, I might have to grade you on Google Classroom participation or something like that. I'm not kidding. I mean, and that's one of the reasons I'm going to do this in the video, so that I don't have to post it and people are going to be like, oh, but I didn't know. You didn't make sure that we all knew. Well, it's your responsibility to be doing this because I am doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm carrying my end of the deal. You have to carry the end of your deal. All right, but that's for both geometry and world geography. Especially so for you guys, 10th graders, this is what's happening right now. Because, I mean, we don't know how long this is going to be, and I predict that it's probably going to be more than the 2 weeks that they told us. So some of the lessons might have to be this way, but the good thing with you guys, for me and for you, is that you don't have to watch videos every day like the other 3 classes. I guess the good thing, too, is that if it continues for a couple more weeks, I'm literally done with the book, and I don't know what else to do. And so here we have 3 units to the right and 2 units to the 3 units to the right and 2 units down. That's what we're going to do. So the third example is, okay, you have a triangle, and these are the points X, Y, Z, and that triangle is going to be transformed by moving it 3 units to the right and 2 units down. So once you actually look at this, you say, okay, so how am I going to do it? First of all, point matrix, okay? So the first thing you have to do is you have to start with a point matrix in this one. In this one, the order does matter. And so it's 1, 5, and then 3, 5, and then 1, 2, okay? Then we're going to actually subtract, because the 3 units is in the x-axis and the 2 units is in the y-axis. I'm going to subtract 3 units I'm going to add 3 units to the right, and 2 units down is going to be minus 2. So it's going to add plus 3 minus 2 for 3 units to the right, 2 units down, 3 units to the right, 2 units down, 3 units to the right, and 2 units down. Let me just check your book real quick because I'm confused. They have a minus sign. Oh, but that's because they didn't use this. Like, they didn't use this thing. So they're actually subtracting the 2 triangles that they got already, and they try to find this one. Well, I'm going to say my transformation matrix is 3 minus 2, 3 minus 2, 3 minus 2, and I'm going to get what the resultant, or what the shifted triangle is going to be, which I think it's easier anyway. And so it's going to be 4 here, then 6, then 4 for the top row of my 2 by 3 matrix. This is a 2 row, 3 columns. So 1, 2 rows. Already finished my first row, and 3 columns. So it's 4, 6, 4 for the first row, and for the second row it's going to be 3, 3, 0. And so these are going to be the points for my transformation triangle. So these are going to be the points of x prime, y prime, z prime, and that's how you can actually graph it. But I think what the book did was they got these points, then they graphed it, and then they said, okay, so what was the transformation matrix? But the transformation matrix is going to be 3 units to the right, so all the x's are going to be 3, 3, 3, and 2 units down. Negative 2, negative 2, negative 2. And that's it. All right, so if you guys like this, you know what to do. You can like, comment, subscribe, maybe share, with your friends, with your family, with your parents, I don't know, your siblings. They enjoy this, obviously, because who doesn't enjoy math during a quarantine, huh? And I would like to thank everyone, because I think I have like 26 subscribers by now, so that's a ton. All right, that's a whole lot. I started with 0 this week, and so now I have 26. Pretty soon I'm going to get the gold play button, and you know it, so the merch might be rolling in, and the sponsored videos, Raid Shadow Legends probably is going to contact me pretty soon, so just wait for those things, okay?